As of August 17th, the National Association of Realtors is requiring some changes regarding agent compensation as part of a lawsuit settlement. The media is falling all over itself now, telling you that the 6% agent commissions are a thing of the past and sellers no longer have to pay buyers' agents commission. So they're going to have tons of money. These are clickbait headlines as usual. And the reality is what agents are getting paid isn't changing, but how they might get paid might. So let me walk you through the facts. My name is Eric. I help people here in the Las Vegas area realize their real estate goals. And if you're looking to buy or sell, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. I've helped every one of tons of people find their piece of Nevada, and I'd love to help you too. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that information is in the description below, and better yet, get on my calendar. Okay, as I said, what agents are getting paid isn't changing, but how they get paid might. This is because the commissions have always been negotiable, and brokerages have always charged the fee they believe their services are worth. You have always been able to find a discount brokerage who is willing to list your home for 1% commission, 2% commission on each side. Some brokerages have even tried to sell homes with a flat fee as low as, in my market, $7.95. So these discount brokerages have always existed. This is not new, not even a little bit. If you want to use the absolute cheapest person you can find to sell your biggest asset, you've always been able to do so. But most people don't, for the obvious reasons that in general, you get what you pay for. When you hire a doctor, a surgeon, an attorney, an accountant, do you look for the cheapest or do you look for the best? The answer is kind of obvious, but maybe some of you simply weren't aware until now that you've always had the option at a very low buyer's agent compensation. But is there any actual data to what impact offering little or no commission to the buyer's agent may have? Absolutely. Let's look at both of these scenarios. First, what happens when you want to offer no buyer's agent compensation at all? Well, the best data we have on this is like something that's always existed. This is the for sale by owner, also known as a FSBO. This is a transaction where somebody is selling their home and they put it on Zillow or some other major site and they offer zero compensation to the buyer's agent. Well, in 2023, FSBOs accounted for just 7% of total real estate sales. This is an all-time low and matches the share we saw back in 2021, and the majority, 57% of these FSBO sales actually already knew the buyer of their home. So this is someone selling a house to someone they already know. So that leaves just 3% of these FSBO sales being just actual sellers trying to go on the market without an agent with no buyer lined up for their homes. Just 3% of the transactions. So what was the result? The FSBOs sold at a median price nationwide of just $310,000 last year, compared to the normal agent-assisted transaction, which sold at a median price nationwide of $405,000. So agent-assisted homes sold for nearly 31% than FSBOs. And keep that in mind. Those sellers who are hoping to save whatever percentage ended up missing out on 31%. That's the definition of tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. But maybe you don't actually want to offer zero commission to the buyer's agent. You want to just offer a slightly reduced commission. You want to just save a little bit. Everybody does. I want to save a little bit. Well, I'm trying to get an article linked down below for you that describes a study done by USA, outlining the data on this, and it's pretty surprising. The study was posted back in 2023 last revised in April of this year, 2024, and here's what it found. Homes with lower buyer agent commissions take longer to sell and are less likely to sell at all. The listings that offered buyer commissions of less than 2% took 33% longer to sell nationwide, assuming they sold at all. But the real bombshell is that those homes that listed below 2% buyer's commission faced a 75% greater risk of not selling at all. That's at just below 2%. Even commissions that were set slightly below the going rate are associated with longer sales times and higher risk of failed sales. For context, according to this study, currently 99% of sellers offer buyer agent commissions of 2% or higher. Now, what about that? Less than 1% are offering commissions below 2%, and that's competition. So what's actually changing? Well, what's changing as a result of this settlement is there are three big changes, and here they are. Number one, sellers now have the option to offer no buyer's compensation at all. Whereas before, if you wanted to list a home on the MLS, you had to offer something, even if it was just $1. You had to put something in the compensation. And reality, the MLS here in Las Vegas, they changed this well over a year ago, where you could offer zero compensation. Then number two, if the seller is offering a buyer's agent compensation, it's no longer allowed to be displayed or suggested anywhere in the MLS, not even in the private remarks, only for agents to see. This means if you like a house, now you have to call the agent directly and ask for what the commission is being offered. Then I have to come back to you as a buyer and we discuss the implications of whether the number they're offering and how this will impact your offer. Now, for my brokerage right now, if someone calls us up on a listing, once this goes into effect, we've been directed to say, put it in your offer. And I expect that is going to happen a lot because I know another major brokerage, because I don't discuss brokerages here, is saying something similar, which means people are not going to know what they're going to make, which creates greater risk. Number three, the agents are no longer, after August 17th, allowed to show houses to anyone without having a signed buyer's representation. As a matter of fact, we just come out with our new form. Maybe I'll do a video on it. They've changed it from the buyer broker agreement to the buyer broker representation agreement. So everybody's got to get their heads wrapped around that. So if you find a house that you like and you want to go see it in an hour from now, I literally am not allowed to show it to you unless you're willing to sign a buyer's representation agreement with me. On top of that, ideally, it needs to be signed the day prior. So no more spring button and picking up going like, hey, I saw this house, let's go see it. That may be over with. So if you want to go see any houses in a rush, you had better have an agent in mind that you're willing to sign an agreement with, because they're no longer allowed to show you otherwise. And right now I'm popping up on the screen. It is actually the latest from legal, from the National Association of Realtors. So it's not coming from me. It shows you what's going on. I'm going to take a second for you to take a look at that. Right now, I feel like I should be playing Jeopardy music. And I'll tell you now, if you want me to represent you as a buyer, my fee is of course negotiable, but it's not going to be free. So the big question now is, if you want to hire me as your agent and the seller is offering no commission to the buyer's agent, will you have to pay me out of pocket? First of all, as your agent, my whole goal is to get you the absolute best home possible based on your personal financial situation. Outside the negotiating the best price, the repairs and all of that, a huge part of what I do is making sure you get the best value out of every single dollar that you're putting into that house. For some people, that might mean putting down a smaller down payment, and instead of using cash to buy down the PI up front. For others, it might mean spending money on a temporary rate buy down. For some, it might mean only looking for a community with low taxes, or only going to builders who are offering a 5.5% rate or better for you. My whole specialty is working with these numbers to get you the most house possible within your budget. The only thing changing here is how we might have to work in some or all of the commission into the deal, which is not as hard as it seems at all, considering that this entire time the buyer's agent commission has always been worked into the deal. It's just always been baked into the price before. This is why I am currently such an advocate in buying new homes. They are now half the market in Las Vegas, and for good reason. You walk in not having to worry about your agent's commission, and they offer so many incentives like paying down the high interest rates to something you can afford, and many of them will pay your closing costs. Can you imagine being a VA borrower and paying nothing down, paying no closing costs? Better yet, having someone pay down your interest rate? Sounds like a win, win, win to me. Even if you're not a veteran, you have the advantage of many of these new build communities being eligible for down payment assistance programs. This means you might be able to walk into a new house and pay little or nothing down. Your mileage may vary on this, so reach out and we can discuss what the possibilities are. Now, for regular sales, the commission has always been included as part of the sales price. Now, some sellers might be in for a surprise when the house starts selling for less if the appraisers start taking into account for them not paying the commission. I've already talked to a top appraiser. They're going to start thinking about that, because when they bought the house and all the other houses that sold for the years had that commission baked in, it's something the appraisers are actually starting to think about and look at. So the long story short is the commission number used to go in this little box at the bottom of the contract. Now it will simply be written in a different box on the contract. And whereas before it's always been included in the sales price, now somewhere all of it might need to be added to the sales price. But either way, we're still just working it into the deal like we always have. Now, here's the crazy part of all this. All the data I've discussed today have regarded agent commissions might very well be the last data we ever see on this, because we are literally not allowed to disclose commission on the MLS anymore, starting August 17th, but our board is a little bit ahead of it. So as of the recording of this, in less than a week, I think we're 4 days away, it's gone here. So there is going to be no public record or database on commissions. We're all just going to be guessing in the dark from here on out. And in my opinion, this is a bad thing. More transparency in these scenarios tend to be a good thing. Absolute secrecy, I think that's a bad thing. If you're worried about agent collusion before, how would you be worried when no one has to disclose their commissions anymore? I would like to answer a quick question someone might be thinking. How do listing agents feel about buyers who represent themselves? Well, agents love that because they feel like they're working with the agent who they trust the most, themselves. So whose interest is being protected? That's the question you should ask. These changes coming, some buyers will just go straight to the listing agent so they don't have to sign a buyer broker representation agreement. Some have always gone to the listing agent, hoping that the greed of double-ending the deal will save them money. And some have always gone to the listing agent hoping to lop off a piece of that commission. Bottom line, they'll still have to put in a contract for an unrepresented buyer. Until now, I've not double-ended any deals because I feel it's unfair. But with these changes happening, I may have to reconsider, because it's possibly going to become a norm. There have been those who insisted working with me, and I've told them up front I'd be refunding the buyer side commission to the seller because I felt it was unfair. Sometimes they had it off the problem because in the back of their little heads, they were planning to go like, well, you know, since you're double ending it, what if you do this and give us a part of the commission? I know what they were thinking. That's why I tell them up front, so they are not working with my greed. Now, here's another thing people are going to say. Who says 6%? Well, no one is saying 6% because real estate commissions have always been negotiable. Then when they say the National Association of realtors manipulated the public into believing the commission rate, I'll ask you this one question. Can you show me the ad campaign or something where they manipulated the public into believing in a certain commission rate? I'm waiting. I can't wait to see the proof. This isn't like the De Beers company running Diamonds Are Forever campaigns and making the public believe that diamonds are valuable. Here's a tip for you. They are common rocks. This one company literally locks them up in a vault and controls the price. What about tipping? When I was young, I used to be a young man, the common tip was 15%. We all know what it is now, and advocates for those who work tipped jobs are now saying that it should be 25%. Now, they pushed that, and you believed it, but show me where the National Association of Realtors ever pushed that. I don't represent them, I'm just asking a question. What about this? A man in New York State is suing brokers because of all these lawsuits going on, because he was an unrepresented buyer, and he said he didn't need his own agent. He knew what he was doing. He went to brokers, or mainly the listing agents, and said, I need you to turn over the buyer side commission to me, even though he was not an agent. Well, none of them agreed to it because he wasn't an agent. And this is the basis of his lawsuit, because no one would give him their commission. You can't make this crap up. This is all within the last couple of months. But anyway, my guess is that real estate commissions are going to stick around, stay about that, because this is where the real estate market has found equilibrium for the last few decades. Pre-internet, post-internet, up markets, down markets, election years, you name it, whatever that rate is naturally for your area is what it's going to settle back in with equilibrium. So in my opinion, it's just going to remain around the same, but it may take a year or so for it to return to that. But how crazy is it to think there'll be no more commission data moving forward? Well, that's it for today. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're looking to buy or sell in the Las Vegas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect with you. Call, text, email. All my information is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. To all my military brothers and sisters, you know what I'm going to say. Alpha, Mike, Foxtrot, and all you other lovely folks will keep the lights on for you.